Hey, what's up everyone? We've got some exciting news. The new patch for Helldivers 2 has finally arrived. We're going to take a good look at a number of weapons and stratagems that have been buffed. We'll discuss the changes and compare some weapons before and after the update. We'll also talk about the patrol spawns and much more. We're going to start by showing a comparison before and after the patrol spawn update. The first clip here is from before today's update, so prior. And you can see how chaotic it can get with different types of bugs or bots constantly spawning and tailing you. The developers have made the game a bit more challenging this time, but it's just the right amount of difficulty. The developers have noted that they've reverted all the changes with the patrol spawns, but they've made some additional tweaks just to kind of give it some more flavor. We're now going to continue on and talk about some of the weapons and stratagems, but let's start off with the spear. Prior to the update, the lock-on feature was quite buggy. As you can see, I was unable to lock onto a Bile Titan or any of the bugs. However, after the update, the lock-on feature has significantly improved in terms of timing. Previously, the lock-on feature was barely functional. Now it's actually locking on quickly, and it's way better than before. Arrowhead has noted that it has lost the ability to target automaton spawners, but this will be fixed in another update. We're now going to talk about the Eruptor because prior to this update, the shrapnel was removed, and guess what? They have yet to do anything about it, so it's still removed. But they have increased the damage, so the damage right now is 570, prior it was 420. Personally, in my opinion, I would like to see the shrapnel added back into this weapon so that it's a bit more effective. Not too sure how many of you are excited about this change because all it is an increase in damage, which is not bad, but again, I would have preferred the shrapnel, implemented back in. Alrighty, moving on, we're going to talk about the PLAS-101 Purifier. This was the most disappointing item in the Warbond, primarily due to its low damage output and poor overall feel. The weapon was practically useless, and it was disheartening to see it in such a state, especially since it was the last weapon in the Polar Patriot Warbond, and well, it's not worth using still. Sadly, it's still pretty bad. The damage is not good against bots or bugs. Sure, it can take a few bots, but I'd rather use the Scorcher for bots and Incendiary Shotgun for bugs. Okay, the Tenderizer, the next weapon we're going to talk about. The very first weapon that you can pick up from the Polar Patriot Warbond. This gun felt a bit underappreciated, and the damage was surprisingly increased last patch, accidentally, and when using this gun, it feels like you are using way too much ammo. It was not bad against bots, but I definitely enjoyed using it on bugs prior. The patch today has made some adjustments in terms of ammo and damage. They actually nerfed it a bit by removing some magazines by decreasing the number of magazines from 10 to 8, and they also decreased the ammo capacity from 35 to 30. However, the developers did increase the stagger strength, damage from 60 to 95, and increase projectile damage to durable body parts from 10% to 17%. Another weapon they have buffed would be the CB9 explosive crossbow, which prior was not too bad, yet I wouldn't use it as a primary. The weapon has seen some buffs in terms of increased explosion armor penetration, as well as increased demolition strength, which they have noted can destroy bot fabricators and bug holes, and I'll be honest, this is a great change. The only thing is, I would rather use a grenade pistol than the crossbow because I can use a better primary and also take out bug holes easily with the pistol. Now, if the bow did a bit more damage against certain enemies, I'd like it a bit more. Continuing on, we have the R63 Diligence that has seen a buff. I'm not a huge fan of it. The weapon itself has received a buff by increasing the projectile damage against durable body parts from 10% to 25%. The devs noted that some enemies have durable body parts that receive only a portion of the base damage from projectiles. I can't say I'll be using it anytime soon, but maybe some of you might. The other assault rifle that has seen an improvement is going to be the Liberator Concussive. This has received an increased projectile against durable body parts, which used to be 23% and is now 35%. The Adjudicator has also seen a buff when it comes down to the magazine capacity. It's now 25 to 30, and they've increased the projectile damage against durable body parts from 10% to 20%. And last but not least, the Quasar cannon was recently nerfed in an update. The update increased the recharge time by 5 seconds. The cooldown was also impacted quite a lot. Despite this nerf at the time, the weapon was still considered to be exceptionally good. So now after the update, you can see that the cooldown depends on the planet's environment. For example, right here it states, reload speed on cold planets minus 2.5 seconds, reload speed on hot planets plus 2.5 seconds. This is pretty much it when it comes down to some of the weapons and stratagems that I can show you that have been buffed. Of course, in the patch notes, they have stated that they've buffed several different stratagems, and I'll show that now. The first stratagem that they've brought up here is going to be the MLS-4X Rocket Sentry. They've decreased the spread, prioritized larger targets, increased the distance from 75 to 100 meters. They've also decreased rockets, decreased explosion armor penetration, and they've increased the projectile damage from 200 to 300. The MG-43 Machine Gun Sentry has also seen a buff. They've reduced the cooldown from 180 seconds to 120 seconds. The Machine Gun Sentries and several different sentries here, as you can see, have increased durability from 0% to 80%. And as for the MG-101 HMG emplacement, they've also increased the rotation speed by 100%. Moving on towards the anti-personal minefield, or mines in general. So for the MD-6, they've increased the explosion damage from 250 to 350, and for the incendiary mines, they've increased the explosion damage from 150 to 210, which is really nice to see. But I would have loved it if they reduced the cooldown as well, but maybe that's something we'll see eventually. Moving towards the Orbital Galleon, they've increased the fire rate by 25%, as well as the rounds from 30 to 60. The armor penetration has also been increased, and they've decreased the cooldown from 80 seconds to 70 seconds. Another orbital that has seen a buff is going to be the Orbital Precision Strike. They've decreased the cooldown from 100 seconds to 90 seconds, and the spawn call-in time has also seen a decrease from 4 seconds to 2 seconds. And last but not least, for orbital stratagems, they've decreased the cooldown from 120 seconds to 100 seconds for Airburst Strike. With the orbital stratagems out of the way, we're going to talk about some of the Eagle stratagems. The Eagle 110mm rocket pods have seen improved targeting, increased projectile armor penetration, which now does 100% damage, to heavily armored enemies instead of 50%. They've also decreased the projectile damage from 600 to 250, I guess to compensate for some improved targeting or extra damage apparently. They've decreased the explosion armor penetration as well. And last but not least, for the Eagle stratagems, Eagle Strafe and Run has seen an increased use from 3 to 4, and they've increased the armor penetration, so now it can damage heavily armored enemies. Another great update for a stratagem. When it comes down to some of the weapon stratagems, the grenade launcher has seen a surprising damage increase, specifically explosion damage, from 350 to 400. The machine guns, on the other hand here, have also received a buff, several of them. So the MG-206 heavy machine gun has seen an increased projectile damage from 100 to 150. They've also increased the projectile damage so that it's more durable against certain body parts, from 23% to 33%. They have also decreased the fire rate from 450, 750, 900 to 450, 600, and 750. Not only that, but they've also decreased the reload time from 7 to 5.5 seconds, and lastly have increased the stagger strength. When it comes down to the MG-43 machine gun, they've decreased the reload time from 4 to 3.5 seconds, and have increased the max amount of magazines from 3 to 4 apparently, so that's really nice to see. And lastly, for several machine guns here, as you can tell, including the exosuit, what they've done here is increase the projectile damage from 80 to 90% and increase the projectile damage against durable body parts from 7.5% to 25%. This is pretty much it when it comes down to the stratagems and the weapon buffs or balance changes. I will be giving my opinions about this, my honest opinions about the whole entire patch at the end of this video, so check that out once this video is pretty much at the end. Now, moving on towards the Galactic War Map, they have done some insane changes here, so now you can actually see the supply lines, which is really, really nice. It will give us a better idea on what to do, and if you're clueless, you do not have to go to an app. Instead, all you have to do is look right here on the map, and you can see exactly where the supply lines are. So not only did they make some changes to the Galactic War Map, but they've also removed the modifier AA-Defense. If you guys do not know that modifier specifically, this one right here would reduce the stratagem slots by 1. They have now removed that specifically, which I'm so happy to see. On the other side here, they've also removed a certain mission. What mission is this? It's going to be the Retrieve Essential Personnel. This one is currently bugged, Yet they have mentioned that they specifically have removed it due to the fact that some people are not a fan favorite of it, and also it's not performing the way they would like it to be. And they have also made some changes to the social tab. So if you go over towards social, you can see that you can now make an invite only lobby. So there was previously the public and friends only. And as for some other changes, they have made multiple changes towards certain enemies. For example, bugs and spewers. The acid specifically will not damage you as crazy as it once was. I mean, it literally felt impossible to move or even to actually survive a acid attack. So that right there has been definitely improved, and you should be able to run around and move around without any real issues. It's actually an incredible change, and happy to see this one. Yet this is pretty much it when it comes down to the video. I just wanted to update you guys on what has changed specifically for weapons, stratagems, and kind of briefly go over the other patch notes here. But for changes, they do have a bunch of bugs fixed. They also have noted that there's several known issues. I mean, it's insane. There's a lot of issues right here. I'm not too sure how I feel about this patch. I think it's a good patch, but also not what I expected. What I was expecting was more weapons to be buffed, enhanced, and what was quite disappointing is that they have nerfed the Tenderizer. Why would you decrease more ammo, more capacity? The weapon itself, it needs more ammo, it needs more magazines. It seemed like a useless change, and I didn't expect them to make any changes towards the crossbow, which is not bad, but it's not too positive, to me anyways. It's not like I'm gonna use this as a primary now because it can destroy fabricators and bug holes. That's cool, I could use a grenade pistol for that, but this is my opinion on it. I'm not trying to say this is the worst patch. Obviously, there's some good improvements here towards patrol spawns and all that, but I would like to know your opinions on everything. Let me know what you think about the patch down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for the support and everything that you guys do. It truly means a lot to me, and I will see you guys in the next video.